Zangpo, you're watching Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine with me, Namchazam. Our top stories this week. His Majesty the King graces the 109th National Day in Tongsa. His Majesty the King grants Pata to chairpersons of the Dzongkhap Tsogdu. And non-infectious cancer on the rise in the country. Now in detail. The 109th National Day was celebrated in Tongsa. His Majesty the King graced the occasion.
Thousands of people from Madhe Choshi and across the nation came together at Sharabling Central School to mark the day. His Majesty the King was received with traditional Chibral ceremony. Accompanying His Majesty was Her Majesty the Getsun and His Royal Highness the Gese. His Majesty the Fourth King, Their Majesties the Queen Mothers, members of the royal family and other senior dignitaries were also present. People of Madhe Choshi offered Kusung Thuggi Mendral to His Majesty the King. People from all walks of life presented various cultural programs to celebrate the day. A lucky draw was also organized where people won power tiller, jersey cows and winnower machines among others as prizes. As part of the celebrations, the Bhutan Broadcasting Service organized its National Nyagi Championship. Karma Yuzar from Punakha emerged as the champion. Later in the afternoon, His Majesty the King granted Toka and interacted with the people gathered. The 109th National Day was observed in Tongsa to mark significant events of birth of His Royal Highness the Gese, 10th year of His Majesty's reign and 12th year of His Majesty's investiture as the Chitse Penlop. National Day is celebrated annually to pay honor to the first hereditary monarch Gongsar Ugyen Wangchuk and his contribution to reunification of Bhutan. Compiled for Hubgem, Taralimbu for BBS News.
December is one of the most significant dates in the history of Bhutan. It is a time for every Bhutanese to rededicate oneself to nation building.
His Majesty the King said, with blessings of the protective deities, Bhutan has enjoyed peace and security. His Majesty said the country's transition to democracy has been successful and people should continue working to make it more vibrant. His Majesty also highlighted on the importance of land kidu to Bhutanese.
자 자찰에 배워진 듄디지말 때 마치 밥디베다 와진 사 에커 붐주더 똥저 주주레지 때뒤 아따라 나저라 개합도 미셀루 펜토페 요균이디 가젤 당아래 사이키두기 라베오들루 같이 셈가 작디베 차슈이 세워진 때 담바라 ngara yabgi be chala su na me same lejim be je te chotik du be tu te genka ngalu namda da thusho meba be chagen du be chachi shugo se disem ga dil ta ngachera du gya khamna le mise marap gar saliten zami changse di nadini le ngachera gi ngyong gi lamlu le chik beru phaji di khajel ta sagi kidu gi tolebe beshimda ngachera mise gi laba 파지디 녜랑토토베 지트 파질레텐 랑루 펜토 남지게제 랑로게 구도자갑테보다 랑기 부질로 도테베 지트고세 때다 뒤기 주어드 트립들레 다 벨조기 찰라디 로치버 로치 자차셀베 제브다 춥드 짱가세 유미드 미미세 로 딩디다 냠추세 때 데베 사도 메텐가 때 디차게 bagdibe 다 사기 기둘레텐 마저라 미세수 가라 딩디지 랑기 또톱지 까마롱 뒤숲지 조충세 멜롬답디베 차슈디 다 듄 퉁구지날로 개비압신이기 가둘레 사에커 붐니다 동저 굽주 공갈 합지 마저라 미세수루 녜랑토토베르 지트수질.
His Majesty the King expressed concerns over people leaving the land fallow and houses empty.
다 다리기 내땅 제오다 나르기 레와케미다 다리기 줍지디 다 마튠라 nga sem magal toto panae chagiyul te da jongga mai debnalu gungtom se temel te gungtom di lochi masu tendol te yan ta jongga kechi geo ni janga kamagi ko she tawdadi te lochi sa sachu mabwa chamabelu te mi gaira 유칼리튼 내서 보드베 촘컵자 때 촘컵 조미기 대간 때 마음라 마저기 나준이멜 나준수 초연티지 토베갈레 라요기 고급 최디베 파 촘컵루주 때 촘컵 협된 랑기 레와게드 줌지 라티드 데세 마토비갈렌 때 록유카 록에서 로마수 촘컵 되게서 되마수 때 파세메 추세메 te panale te tama ngachiregi najunsu ko michega se chagelamal.
His Majesty also shared on how waste management is increasingly becoming a problem in the country.
Ngara kodusum bochindi timpulu nim rinshira maru nyuru changye keji tontra tuchurechi themi se tebe koil. 다 뒤기 주어다 집에 갈래 미 장가야세 미내서부 좀 라셔 차베 베갈래 때 랑시기 베답 마주에 삽 중을 인데르 베루 다 나치르 두게 합나루 셈가 쟁고미디 도토순체 바나 나치르기 랑시네 땅디 마두투페 단지 탑나일 딜레텐 개합 마이 드비기 나치기 개합이 차르르 따디베 남에 셈에 이제다 녀랑 bom준디일 디 나치 두게 합기 지tungi mingtamil da ranjinetang danse tabdo zumbera ngachiregi dusigi thakurnetang di matutupe danse tabajin dileten dubje bom chityons normal.
Coinciding with the National Day, His Majesty the King awarded National Order of Merit to individuals and institutions. His Majesty founded the National Order of Merit in 2008 as a reward for distinguished and meritorious services to the nation.
A firefighter with the Royal Bhutan Police, Chumasring Wangchuk Drukpa from Samtsi, received the National Order of Merit Gold for his bravery and commitment in the line of duty. Chumasring Wangchuk sustained head injuries while combating a forest fire in Thimphu in 2012. Despite the traumatic experience, he was actively involved in containing the fire in Monga town this year. During the incident, he sustained injuries after falling from a 3-story traditional house which was on fire. Currently, he is serving under the Mongar RBP division.
Coach is jail. Dibodadi. Maragi. Coach Galu Amchi Moy Manula. The Shablesera Tongle. The top divider Ramsanga Sim Gaila. Maragi some celebration. Dilal Hapching I Benigi Rewa Bombirel.
His Majesty the King also awarded posthumous award National Order of Merit Gold to Sitim, a tour guide who lost his life while attempting to save another's. The guide's father received the award. In November last year, while guiding tourists in Bumthang, one of his guests slipped and fell into the Mewarso. Without a second thought, Sitim jumped into the lake to save his guest, displaying immense courage and selflessness.
Pomero tapinga ne vesura beuda. Tangarat. What's a legend da? Legend that's homela.
Rebecca Pradhan, a senior ecologist with the Royal Society for Protection of Nature, was recognized for her contribution towards Bhutan's conservation efforts and environmentalism. She received the National Order of Merit Gold. During her 29 years of service, Rebecca Pradhan received many international awards, including the recent Global Hotspot Heroes of 2016.
I'm just lost, I'm really nervous and, I really don't expect all these things, happening because most of the time I'm working with all the royal family. I'm always getting the blessing, but I'm really, get this medal to honor me like this. I've never thought about it, and it's I'm nervous and still I'm not believing myself.
76-year-old Carolyn Thring received the National Order of Merit Gold in recognition of her lifetime service in the field of education. She came to Bhutan in 1966 on the invitation of His Majesty the Third King.
It's a very special occasion because it's the 10th year of His Majesty's reign. So for me, that's even more special, and I'm so sincerely honored to be given this award. But, everything I've achieved, if I have achieved anything in education, really all the credit goes to all my wonderful colleagues that I've had in education over the years.
7 educators from the Ministry of Education, Royal University of Bhutan and Kesagepo University of Medical Sciences also received the National Order of Merit Gold for their exemplary service to the nation in the field of education for excellence in leadership and management. His Majesty the King also awarded the National Order of Merit Gold to 23 public benefit organizations. They were recognized for their services to the nation in volunteering time and effort towards promoting humanitarian values, culture and tradition, and national objectives. As part of the National Day celebrations, 21 teachers from Education Ministry, Royal Institute of Management, and Kesagepo University of Medical Sciences received the National Order of Merit Silver. Dr. Guru Prasad Dakal, an Associate Professor of the Kesagepo University of Medical Sciences, was awarded the National Order of Merit Bronze for his exemplary service to the nation in the field of education for excellence in teaching. For Sringzam in Tongsa, Dojitama BBS News.
His Majesty the King granted pata to all chairpersons of the Dzongkhag Tsogdu. The ceremony was held in Tongsa Dzong.
The patangs were granted in recognition of the important role that the local government plays in achieving the development goals of the country and as an effort to further the process of decentralization. Addressing the gathering, His Majesty said, contrary to what is often perceived, local government is not the lowest level of government, but the closest level of government for the people.
Receiving pata from His Majesty the King bestows us with additional responsibility. It's a reminder that we have to work even harder than now.
산에신기 짜팀날로 예비기 genkhorji 타점지 땡디기베 라벤닐로 남섬이 펜톤이 임베스 노멜라 마시데다 바데디 남다 지컬롱아 치루 genkhoi.
It will encourage us to fulfill our duties with utmost dedication. With Pata has come a huge responsibility. It is His Majesty's such gesture and words that will guide us to serve the country better.
상보 테서게티보 많이 집중한 절로 지하베 나이 다니스음과 샤디기베 차슈니기 고급 땡아처리기 타덤스 땡디기 차슈고디 같이 수닐
마지데 다데베 명왕한들의 뭐 저기 데베 빠따 나운생아지기 노섬 저덕고레 마탄시 수닐라 다 가자.
We didn't expect to receive patas from His Majesty the King, but when we did so, coinciding with the National Day, it was thought-provoking. It's a sign that we work for the betterment of entire Gyeoks in respective Dzongkhags and not just focus on an individual's Gyeok.
닥종다치 갈로 냄들기 돌레베 간이와 핀주 초디기베 라 슈베라 베고 비기 딱진치 이 시슈니.
A press release from the Royal Office for Media states, local governments are indispensable avenues through which the rural population can participate in democracy and development. The success of democracy in the long run would be determined to a large extent by the success of local governments. Dojitama BBS News.
Thimphu District Court now has 5 specialized benches. It is initiated to facilitate speedy, fair and just adjudication of cases and disputes. Judicial established the specialized benches to commemorate His Majesty the King's decade on the Golden Throne.
The Criminal Bench 1 will conduct the miscellaneous hearings for determining admissibility of cases to other benches, issuance of remand and warrants. This bench will also deal with criminal cases except criminal cases related to children. The Criminal Bench 2 will also deal with criminal cases except for the criminal cases related to children. Land disputes, inheritance, contract agreements, intellectual property rights, tenancy, election and any other cases of civil nature will be now taken care by the Civil Bench. The Commercial Bench, as the name suggests, will handle claims of commercial cases, including loan cases, private money lending and check-related issues. The Family and Child Bench will deal matrimonial, assault or battery cases relating to husband and wife, child custody issues and children in conflict with laws. This is Pasa for BBS News.
Royal Monetary Authority will soon start with a new policy called Inclusive Financial Policy. It is to provide loans to the rural communities to improve their livelihoods. People are expected to effectively utilize limited arable land and foster the agriculture sector in the country.
In an effort to boost the agriculture sector, the central bank plans to reach rural communities through microfinancial institutions.
Soon we are going to start a policy called inclusive financial policy, under which we are going to register and license microfinance institutions which will be providing loans to the rural communities.
The loan ceiling will be 500,000 Newton. The central bank also plans to institute priority sector money lending.
Now what we have to do is we have to come with a policy where we should be able to give credit to the agriculture sector. Unlike many other countries, our country so far didn't have a so-called the policy called priority sector lending. So one of the emphasis now what we should be doing is that within the finance sector to taking His Majesty's command as a new kind of approach towards the loan to agriculture, we might have to come with the policy on priority sector lending.
The agriculture is the least invested sector in the economy. With more than 70% of population depending on agriculture for livelihood, this new inclusive financial policy might be a turning point. This is Pasa for BBS News.
Non-infectious cancers such as head and neck cancers are on the rise according to the Health Ministry. But infectious cancers such as cervical and stomach cancers has however gone down over the years.
The number of cancer caused by infection has decreased by 9% from 2008 till 2014. For example, the number of people infected with stomach cancer has decreased from 120 in 2013 to 90 in 2014. Health Ministry attributes the decrease to improved healthcare facilities in the country.
Now, firstly, the reduction in the infectious type of cancer like cervical cancer in women, it's basically because we have put many interventions in place. That, for example, we have started this pap smear program, screening of women for early detection of cancer. Overall, because of the economic development, there's improvement in the sanitation and hygiene of people. So that is one reason. And other thing is also, I think people are also aware of the preventive measures.
But non-infectious cancer such as head and neck and colorectal cancer are on the rise. It has also increased by 9% from 2008 to 2014. For example, the number of colorectal cancer cases has increased from 20 in 2013 to 80 in 2014. Exposure to diet rich in proteins, chemicals and processed food is contributing to the rise according to health officials. It is common among the elderly age group as per Bhutan Cancer Report 2015.
This non-infectious cancer has been related with use of chemicals. But I think globally and research in other countries has proved that use of chemicals are associated, directly associated with increased cancer incidence. When BAFRA, as a regulatory authority, has said that some foodstuff is banned because of high risk of chemicals. I think people should refrain from eating them.
Health Ministry spent over 147 million yutum to treat more than 1,000 cancer patients abroad from 2007 to 2014. Srinizam, BBS News.
Bhutanese have high level of acceptance of corruption, which means people turn a blind eye to corruption. This is as per the research report by the Bhutan Transparency Initiative launched recently. It also says people have low willingness to report corruption.
The Bhutan Corruption Barometer Report 2016 states people believe that nothing would be done or that reporting would not make a difference. Some 1,200 respondents from across the country were surveyed.
Which is the most alarming finding is the high level of tolerance for corruption. 25% of the respondents actually said that corruption is a normal social phenomenon. Everyone indulges in corruption. Therefore, the general public consider it acceptable to be corrupt. And this is the starting point. If we are not able to recognize corruption as being corruption and accepting it as a normal practice, this is the worst scenario that we can have. We must start fighting corruption with the acknowledgement that we do have corruption and corruption in various forms.
Another reason for the high level of acceptance against corruption is the fear of being excluded from the close-knit society where interdependence is a norm.
They attribute it to the complacency of the people unless you are directly hurt. You don't want to react, because I think even in families when you discuss, the elders always try to tell the youngers, just stay away, it's not your business. But it is everybody's business, I would think so. Because unless there is this concerted effort by every citizen, corruption, I think we cannot fight against corruption. Because corruption manifests in different shapes, forms, and in different, places. So therefore, I think everybody should come together.
The research calls for more awareness to the people on the need to combat corruption collectively. Sunampem for BBS News.
Winter break usually is a time for students to relax and enjoy after almost a year of hard work. But a group of 35 students working at Memelhaga landfill site in Thimphu, it is a different story.
These group of students, as young as 12 years old, are seen working at the Memelhaga landfill site. No one would even want to go to this place filled with foul smell and dirt. But these students work here. They segregate plastic waste in this huge dumping site.
I am working so that I can earn some cash and use it for my school expenses and help my parents as well.
Winter vacation it is better to work than to stay idle at home. I worked last year too and it helped my parents save some money. So I am doing the same this time.
This year same last year
There are lots of waste here at Memelhaga, so I can also reduce some waste and at the same time earn some money and use for my expenses without having to depend on my parents.
Each student collects around 50 kilograms of plastic waste, reducing around 2 tons of plastic waste from the landfill site in a day. It's a work where students earn and at the same time contribute towards waste management. This way, parents and guardians can also be assured that their children don't spend the break idle or engage in activities against the law. The students are employed by a private company, the Green Road, which uses plastic waste to blacktop roads. Sringdema Gelson, BBS News.
The Bhutan Olympic Committee will come up with a weightlifting gymnasium in Thimphu by the end of next month. It is to promote the strength-based sport in the country. The committee said Bhutanese have the potential to make a name for oneself in weightlifting. The fitness center will be open for all and those interested will be trained for free.
ta ma chike khamna le fa no tan di ani noni gi tan da is shuni bin la ta
The gymnasium is almost ready. We have already placed order for weightlifting equipment and it will be here in about a month's time. Then we will start training those interested. And after training for about a year, we will conduct a national championship and form a national team. Slowly we plan to participate in international competitions as well.
shule ma chike khamna le ta dendur na le fa kokabre chamato ni kokabre yubyo chinte pona national team na le select be te machima ani betani.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Until next time, goodbye.